Let's talk about the Warcraft Netflix series. Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about the Warcraft Netflix series. It's going to happen. I'm only 98.73% sure it's gonna come out before 2028.
Oh god. Oh god. This is gonna be a spicy one, man. I don't know, dude. We're getting a Warcraft series. I really, like, should they do live action with actual people and stuff like that? In a way, I kind of hope that they would do, like, sort of a, like an arcane kind of style, like with animation, animated stuff. I think that could be really, really good. You know what I mean?
And the last 1.27% is the Microsoft money that nobody knows where it will go first.
Okay.
Why am I so sure? Well, it was not only hinted and indirectly confirmed by higher-ups at Blizz in an earlier interview, but the successes of some video game adaptations have been so great that the biggest video game of all time, that's not Pokemon, makes the logical next step.
The proof.
And speaking of Pokemon, although the adaptation from the game was an anime, it also spawned a live action movie.
I never watched this. I don't know, man. Some live action stuff is kind of weird to me, dude. Maybe it's good, but I never watched it personally. It's good. It was okay. It looked so bad. Everybody want a series. It was entertaining. It felt so wrong, but it was actually pretty decent. Okay. I mean, I just never watched it. It never really tickled my fancy in that regard. It did pretty well with kids. I never watched it though. That's fair enough. I hope that they just do their like kind of cinematic style for a movie. Maybe that would be a lot of work or whatever the heck, but I don't think live action would do great. You know, everybody always says, oh, get Henry Cavill as Arthas, right? But I really think like a more cinematic style in terms of the animations and stuff could be great.
Which was cute, sure, but all of this made them
live action
so
sucks a lot of the
much money that it's still surprising we are not flooded with Pikachu paraphernalia every time I try to buy a pretzel at the local kiosk.
I mean, it's pretty much
that aside, the most recent success story has to be that of Super Mario Bros. Movie that released earlier this year.
I never watched this either. I'm so out of the loop. I think this animation thing is a good way of doing it. Instead of doing like live action, like imagine if this would have been a live action one, right? I actually never watched it. I heard it's actually quite good, but I just never got around to actually watching it. I don't watch kid movies anymore. You can see it on Viaplay. I don't have Viaplay, but it's a cute kids movie. That's what I figure. Yeah. I love the movie. If they did sequels, I wouldn't mind them, but if they do series, 100% live action. Yeah, it could be done. I mean, a live action could be done well. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually quite liked the Warcraft movie. Not in terms of a lore perspective, but I actually quite liked the movie as a whole.
Not only was the movie so good, but it was so Super Mario.
Yeah, it was fun.
The
I liked
acting,
it.
the feeling, the animation, the singing. It was like re-experiencing my childhood before my dad left for milk all over again. And the biggest win for the movie is that it rebooted, rebranded, reinvigorated.
Like, look, this is weird, man. Okay, like, I mean, maybe this is like a bad live-action adaptation of Mario, but this is just weird, dude. Like, what the fuck? Scope, thank you for the 2 months, man. I love this movie. You like it? It's good. Okay.
Themed, whatever.
The CGI was the only good part of the WoW movie. What if they took that and just made it the whole thing like that, right? I don't know. That could be good. That could work. It has a cult following. It does look like it would have a cult following.
Steaming pile of Bowser leftover this was. Yeesh. That precedent will work well if we have...
Wait, was that from that movie? What the fuck?
To think of the Warcraft movie, which was planned to be a first in a trilogy. And the Warcraft movie wasn't even bad.
I like this movie.
It just didn't sell as much, most likely because the medium was bad.
It's a niche.
Cinema might not be yet the time for World of Warcraft, but the small screen sure is. The Witcher, first season, proved that live-action adaptations can be super successful, even when the main dude is played by a pretty boy that doesn't match the character at all. Remember when we trashed Cavill for not being girly enough? And still, The Witcher, the first season, was one of the best examples of video games having a proper live-action adaptation.
I liked the Witcher series overall. It's, for me, just felt very cluttery. But with that being said, though, I've never read the Witcher books, so yeah. I don't really know. I liked the movie overall, but it did feel very cluttery, right? The series is bad. I, th- I don't know. Maybe it's because I like the fight scenes and shit like that. That was kind of dope, right? But yeah, season 1 was nice. Season 2 they fucked it up so hard. Yeah, I would say the timeline stuff was weird. Yeah, I just think from a person that hasn't read the books or religiously played the games, it was very difficult to follow the story in a way.
Small
Yeah.
screens, and Netflix to boot. Well, video games and in Witcher's case, books as well. But it gets better. Castlevania proved you can take an even more obscure title and have it be incredibly well done, with a proper amount of gore, violence, and character sarcastic wit and banter. And not only unironically amazing, but actually successful.
Okay.
Yeah, Castlevania was a proper success story of
Never played
putting
it
out
either.
a show about a video game arguably less known than World of Warcraft, albeit with the Dracula theme that
series,
did some heavy lifting for its appeal. And I think this is just about the right time before some people start to
This
lose
was
their
good.
marbles for not talking about it as well.
Arcane was good.
Arcane is
Yeah.
the big fish, the good example that everyone keeps using again and again and again of how you can
I feel like Arcane. Yeah, you guys are gonna bat chest now, okay? Yeah, fucking bat chest. Listen, Arcane it's really good, and because it's really really good, then people want to hate it because it's cool to hate what's popular. Okay, like it was good. I liked it, man. I liked it a lot.
take a popular game with close to no lore outside character bios,
was
a
very good.
questionably designed website, and who knows what other. Oh, I didn't know they also did this. Mediums that tell some story about some character published out there, whatever. With Arcane's success, we can ride the it can be done horse for quite a while when it comes to the almost confirmed Warcraft Netflix series. And it was
so much good
almost
story
confirmed.
involved.
Earlier this year, IGN conducted an interview with Holly Longdale and John Haidt, and there were a non-singular amount of questions regarding a potential Netflix series for WoW. This leads me to believe that the topic was planned to be approached because in all of the interviews, whenever a subject that was considered tangent was approached, it received a maximum of one question with a relatively vague political answer of you never know.
Maybe,
Whether
yeah.
past interviewers approached this same topic or player housing, community perception,
Oh, God.
Bobby Kotick's new nail clipper. The line of questioning never actually developed into a line and instead remained a clear and predictable period like the one my ex-girlfriend got when we were still never mind.
What?
Not only was this not the case with the Warcraft Netflix topic, but we got some interesting doses of copium and actual justifications as to why it will happen now more than ever before. The interviewer went on to say, can we see Warcraft expand out into multimedia, into shows, into movies again?
I think, and I don't know, you guys probably agree with me, a lot of y'all, but I think the best almost like way if you want to do a series on it is taking Arthas's like life, right? Having like one series be his like early life, then one where he like gets corrupted, and then one where he's like the Lich King or something like that, right? I think that could be really cool. But there's also a lot more other stuff you can do. For instance, with the orcs, right? The original, like with the orcs and Draenor and everything like that. That's another way of doing it as well, right? There's more to WoW than Arthas. Yeah, that's what I wanted to like segue into as well. Like that is like the go-to. Like okay, we make a series and it's Arthas and like people know about it, but there's a lot of other stuff with the orcs like from the way in the beginning as well, which is really really dope too. We need a detective series about Mancrick's wife. Yeah, maybe, I guess. Illidan's story is so good. First and second wars were quite iconic. Yeah, in a way, as much as I would really love to see Arthas for sure, but I also would really like to see like some more like unknown stuff of like the early Warcraft stuff. I think that could be really cool to go that way as well. The entire Warcraft 3 storyline is amazing. That's true. Yeah. Played it as a kid. Really liked it. I hope everyone's doing good. What's up, Parsh as well? Can we get sure about Gussie though? I don't think they can do that. They already did that story with the orcs. Well, they did one like movie, yeah, where they go over the you know, where the orcs go into what is it called? Kalimdor and everything like that. But there's so much more about the orcs and everything like that before that as well, you know. Yo, thank you, Mamola, as well for the sub. Netflix writing new lore would be worrisome. No, they should not write lore. No. Okay, I don't think they should write their own lore. I think they should take existing lore and make that into something. The lore is already there. Just take that. You don't have to make up stuff.
To which John Hyde had to say,
well, are we gonna see Warcraft expand out into multimedia, into shows, into movies again? It's been, what, 2016 since the movie came out.
That was one of the big reasons that we've somewhat reorganized as, you know, a Warcraft universe. So Holly's part of the leadership team for that. So not just overseeing WoW, that's her, you know, her baby, but also contributes to some of the strategic decisions that we have around where do we want to go next.
Where should they go next?
Like, the animation team is insane. I don't know how long it takes them to make those little 3-minute trailers, but it's sick, man. If you start with that, nothing's gonna reach that level of story. Or if you mean with Arthas, yeah, I mean, for me, Arthas is the ultimate, like, you know, storyline in WoW. But yeah, there's a lot more other things as well they can take a look at, right?
That should, of course,
at least 6 minutes. Yeah, I would say so as well.
Mean anything. Anything is possible. As far as the game has progressed, WoW has actually came a long way and did things we didn't think they could do or would do. Remember J. Allen Brack? Sorry, buddy. Bringing you up again because I need to make a point. I know it might suck for you. But Brack essentially addressed the WoW Classic idea as something that's never going to happen and something we won't even want to have happen. Well, that didn't really age well. We got Classic, we also got TBC, Wrath, and soon Kata Classic. And the development for the never going to happen and you don't want it idea went even lateral with hardcore WoW and Seasons of Discovery. There is nothing you can realistically say about WoW that cannot happen. Card game, full-fledged mobile game, MOBA, and who knows, maybe
Heroes of the Storm, man.
Console port for WoW is on the horizon after the Microsoft acquisition. But that's talking about what the game will get. What about the Netflix series? John Hyde mentioned that we have a full green light process, aka budget, for Warcraft. One of the reasons why Chris is back is to make sure we stay consistent with the Warcraft universe across all projects. He's basically there to say, this is in, this is out. This means project as in games, but more than that, because he also went out to say,
you know, we start with games, we are going to expand beyond that.
In a world with Netflix's Witcher, Arcane, Castlevania, the only logical place beyond gaming with a gaming IP is a TV series. It's only logical. Will we finally get that Arthas season people wanted? Maybe, but that's the boring version of what the Warcraft Netflix series can be. The more interesting version
is always the main thing whenever people mention it. It's like always the Henry Cavill as Arthas, right? Which I get it as well. Staying consistent is infamously inconsistent universe is one hell of a statement. It's very consistent, Craig. I don't know what you're talking about.
Side by side with the upcoming stories. You know, stories that are planned years ahead, expansions ahead, the World Soul Saga. Depending on how they play this, they can literally tell the actual canon WoW story in a TV series while we get to act it out in-game. This is ambitious, but
I don't know if they should go that route,
this essentially assures their longevity on the small screen for multiple seasons. They can do the Game of Thrones version, not Season 8, and have the show bring a different life to the story.
Okay, listen, man, I just want to say, it's not only Season 8 that has problems when it comes to Game of Thrones, okay? The problems start a little bit earlier in the seasons than Season 8, okay? I know some people are like, oh, Season 8 is, oh, whatever, but yeah, lululul. It starts a lot earlier, okay, than that. Unbelievable, man. Like, the first few seasons of Game of Thrones are absolutely stellar and fantastic, but there's a certain pivotal point where everything kind of just changes and, like, it goes downhill and... Oh, God, dude. Why did he have to bring that up, man? Oh, whatever, dude. Like, it's whatever. Annie kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. Oh, that pissed me off so much, man. Oh, my God. Why? Yeah, she kind of just forgot. Yeah, she's literally invading King's Landing, and she just forgets. Lol. Oh, whatever. Warcraft series.
And hey, they can still do the Game of Thrones version,
After
not
season
season
5,
8,
yeah.
and have spin-offs or prequels where they can still tell the Arthur story everyone seems to think will be the best choice.
Yeah.
The story department has been struggling for years with telling the full story in-game and opted for short stories and then books and more books.
It's too
Don't
scattered.
get me wrong, I love books, but it's one thing to have Arthas, the story of the prince with more details,
That is the
dialogue,
go-to.
and intrigue on how he becomes the Lich King, a story I already played in Warcraft 3 and Wrath of the Lich King, and another to make Sylvanas books that answer the wait, what's actually going around here?
I
Question.
mean, should they take those big names and do it like that, or should they take like some more, I don't know, Sylvanas, like a Sylvanas adaptation? The Torghast story. I'm not mad about Game of Thrones. I'm just saying, dude, they could have done so much more. I think like it's like, yeah, as well, I agree with that, Snaggy. They need to appeal to like non-WoW enthusiasts too. Like have it like be a big broad audience, right? Where you can really go into it and stuff like that. Gotta add that fan service. You mean by having like big characters on it? I mean, I guess, but a bit of smoke comes out of your ears whenever you say season 8. I'm gonna give you smoke, okay?
There is a plethora of space when it comes to WoW's short and big stories. It's big, small, or developing characters, and there is no golden rule to expect the Netflix series to focus exclusively on what happened in the past games. For all we know, they could just go all out with new characters or timelines, although at this point they have to know that the
Okay, could we please, if they do adaptations, do early Warcraft stuff. I think that could be a lot more cool.
so-called Warcraft universe today is strictly sustained by their most dedicated fans
gonna be like
and
a Disney
players,
movie
and
then.
if they want to repeat the same mistakes as they did with the Warcraft movie, trying to please both fans and wider audiences, then it will go to the toilet. So yeah, past stories structured into seasons with 10 to 15 episodes would help
A
detail
WoW horror flick called The Wetlands Run. Imagine if they did like some horror style in Duskwood or some shit. I don't know, man. There's a lot. I think there's a lot of potential, though. Honestly, do the story of Anbani and his decent descent to madness from Torghast.
a lot of the spaces left in prior narratives. John Hyde also said what is possibly the most ambitious thing ever. So ambitious that
I
I'm
guess,
not
Insane
really
Nick, yeah,
sure
that's
he
true
was
as well.
allowed to make such a statement.
How do we signal to the world that, you know, Warcraft is a universe, 240 million strong, and we're going to grow from there. And we are going to branch into other things.
For all the MCU memes people have been throwing around the 3 expansions being announced at BlizzCon, this is literally the most MCU thing I have heard regarding Warcraft.
That was still crazy. You know what would be perfect if they did story like The Last of Us, where you follow a main story, but you get many impacting stories on the side, so they can do the Defiance Brotherhood and such. That could be a really cool way of doing it. Yeah, like you follow through like a character, and then like you get a lot of side stories. Like they go into a hut and they meet like some Defiance people, and there's like a side story with those Defiance people. Then they meet like some, you know, some orcs or something that has like a side story as well. That could be a good way of doing it.
Saying that they want people to see Warcraft as a universe
Maybe one day,
is
Rivers.
big. It's Warcraft, not World of Warcraft. And with Chris Metzen's addition to the team, which was the missing link, now everything is complete. You might think that the Metzen shtick is overplayed at this point, but really think about it some more.
He's a
The
good
whole
talker,
saga
though.
idea is from Metzen and his team. A big overarching narrative to be played and experienced over the next 3 expansions for WoW feels very MCU indeed, but very Lord of the Rings trilogy also. And it's safe to say that a big majority of us got super hyped to see what the hell is coming. Metzen is in charge of the Warcraft universe, not just WoW. Metzen helped create, if not spearheaded, the entire world of the Warcraft universe, and when you expand into multiple games and cinema, you need to be able to keep the story cohesive, or you end up with Disney Star Wars that not only retcon the
I feel like WoW lore already is kind of Disney, man. We came together to save the tree. Guys, only with friendship. I don't know. For me, it feels kind of Disney, dude. I won't lie. We saved Azeroth through the power of the video game. You know, it's like it's just so much, man. Like it's so bad. We saved the tree together.
Old Republic, but is kind of rewriting it and renaming it
It's just so
today.
bad.
Having a consistently driven mind when it comes to a fantasy world that tells its story and holds the reins on what is permissible and what is not is how Game of Thrones was successful for the first season, because they had the consistent stories from George R.R. Martin's books. Now for us, that will be Metzen. Although he didn't write Warcraft's story alone, he had the largest impact on it, and if one person should be in charge of it, then that's him. So with the missing link to what was needed for a show currently on board, with obvious successful precedents already on the market, and the Netflix platform confirmed, and the Microsoft acquisition that can offer a much wider array
I
of
hope it could be
options and
good, but we'll
opportunities,
see.
there's nothing stopping Blizzard from making a Netflix series, whether it will be about Arthas, Thrall, Jaina's new lover, or even Volpera.
No, please.
I would expect a teaser.
I like that idea a lot though, with like, yeah, going through like a story and then having a lot of side stories through it, kind of like The Last of Us did. I think that was actually a very, very good idea for that. Like having a lot of small side stories you can get invested into, and then yeah.
or even an announcement at next
cool.
year's BlizzCon. Mark my words though,
No Vulpera.
this is the right time to come back to WoW. And when you
Interesting video,
decide
though.
to do it, click our mains video right here to get a better understanding of what to play and how to choose the character you want in
I'll leave the
10.2.
video,
All
guys.
this while we wait for the Warcraft Netflix series.
Yeah, here it is, guys. I'll link it here. I don't know. I think it could be interesting to have a little, obviously a thing. Obviously, guys, check out the video here. Give it a like. Marcelian Online make some cool WoW stuff as well. It could do really, really, really well. But man, I don't know how the heck they should do it, man. I think that idea with the small stories throughout, somewhat similar to Last of Us, is definitely a very good shout.